start the recording there, and then I will just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay, sounds good. I don't think I need to use voice chat.
All right. All right. Usually spamming shields as Ana is not very high priority at all. Typically, there's like a billion things you could be doing other than shooting shields, such as looking
Oh,
to use abilities, healing teammates, right? Shooting at enemies around the shields. So typically, shield spamming is very low priority. Now,
okay,
we might. I believe already. I'm noticing we are going to discuss when to scope versus unscope, and we'll go over that after the game is over. Longer topics we will discuss, like so that I'm not talking while you're playing, afterwards.
okay.
But also just make sure for the moment, don't sit there hard scoping when there's people shooting at you.
Do I just ignore him or what am I?
So in that situation, you could possibly look to outduel him. But the other thing I would say, like, if you expect him to drop on top of you, which I probably in that situation would have expected him to drop on you, right? If it's a free 1v1, be looking up in the air and ready to sleep him, right? Because we were kind of just looking straight down and we weren't really paying
Yeah.
attention. So be ready for him to drop on you, right? Because if he doesn't drop on you, then you're good. If he drops on you, then you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Great push, guys.
Oh, I need to change my sense. I don't know so.
All right, so I think yeah, we'll talk a little bit about positioning, or not positioning. We'll talk about some more stuff as well. I'm just noting in my head. That is
Uh,
unfortunate. Not a lot you could do about that one. He was not even aiming for you. Oh no, he was aiming for you.
Come on, really, guys? Really good shot, G.
can you hear my game?
Yep. All right, so to keep it very simplistic, I will go more in depth on this after the game is over, but we're not taking high grounds very often. Look to take high grounds whenever you get the chance, right? We've had a lot of chances and we just haven't been going for it.
Oh no.
Good attempt at it.
When's when's like
Good.
the best time to sleep him?
Nope, right there was completely fine, right? Like as soon as you get lifted up in the air and you get close to him, right, that's perfect time to go in for the sleep.
Hold on.
Right, so not a bad nano target, but make sure that your monkey is actually on top of people before you're nanoing him, right? Because he's a very close range character. If he's just used his jump and he's not near anybody, then nano's not going to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So just, watch him. You saw there that there wasn't anybody, so just hold off on the nano until until he has his jump or that there's somebody next to him. Very nice sleep.
Really good sleep. Good pressure, everyone. I still roll.
Alright, note that is the first time you have used nade this game, right?
Yeah.
So abilities and ultimates that are not used get no value, right? So up until now, nade has done nothing, and it's a cooldown that comes back to you every 10 seconds, I believe. Maybe it's 8 seconds. I think it's 10, right? So you're getting that back for relatively frequently, yet we have not used that in minutes of gameplay, right? So make sure we're looking to use it because it is very high powered. We will go more in depth on that later. Good sleep.
Banana you hog pushing.
Lucian on point.
All right, so
His
good. All right. So, when you are about to cap point, right? So when you're about to cap and they have to come out, where's the one place they have to go?
that door.
The door. Okay, that is accurate. Where's the after they get out of the door? Where's the one place they have to go?
Payload.
Right. So therefore, where's the most dangerous place for you as a support to be standing?
The payload, not
All
the
right.
combo, yeah.
Yeah. So instead, I'd say stand a little bit behind it, right? That way you're not on top of the place where they want to run to, and then it also gives you some better visibility as well. We're gonna go over a bunch of positioning things after we're done here in this game, but that's just some simple stuff for now. Good self heal nade. If I'm not mistaken, in the last fight we did nano monkey, right?
Yeah.
All right, just checking. Very good.
That was bad.
Guys, we have to push up a little higher here.
Almost have nano. That probably shouldn't be that up ahead.
Good awareness.
Push in monkey, no nano. Jump in.
Try to sleep him at at the end of his destination, not in the middle of him going traveling, right? So hit him when he's at the very end of his pin when he's not moving versus trying to do in the middle of his pin when he is moving. Right, because it's much harder to hit a moving target than it is to hit a stationary target. So if he's in the middle of charging, difficult sleep. At the very end of his charge, easy sleep because he can't shield. You know where he's going, and he's moving in a straight line, and he's stunned, right?
Yeah. So. Oh. I wish they had like a mini map tell you who was low, but that's like a huge part of the game.
Yep. Well, I mean, you seem to do decent there. I like the audio awareness. Very nicely.
Oh, I can't hit this Lucio.
Watch stepping on the card again, and then also just make sure that when you're low, you're requesting healing. This is going to just let your other support know that you need healing, and as you saw with like the Hanzo who requested healing, when you request healing, it gives you an in-game audio cue so you can like turn around and help them out. So that's just going to get you healing faster from your other support, essentially.
Okay.
Okay, so yep, I have a big long list of things that we will review after this game is over. Let's see, is there anything in the meanwhile that we can go over? Okay, so ability usage, just real quick importance. So abilities are really important. It's how you carry, it's how you do things on support, right? So on Ana, your sleep and nade are very, very important. So you're looking for both quality and quantity. So far, I'd say that we're missing out on both, especially with nade. Sleeps, honestly, you're firing them pretty often, and you're hitting, around half of them. Not too shabby. Nade usage is terrible though, right? So far we've only thrown a couple, so the quantity is very, very low. We're not getting a ton out there, which means we're less on value. And then the ones that we are throwing maybe aren't doing a ton. So I would like to see us putting effort into both of them. Throw out pretty much off of cooldown every single time you get it. Now that's just a general rule. does not apply to every and all situation, which we might get more in depth on, but throw them more often and look for higher quality, which we'll talk about how to get higher quality after the game is over.
Sounds good. Oh my god.
Alright, watch your own health there, because we threw an anti-nade when we were like 8 HP, right? So, probably in that situation, throwing the healing nade would have been a better idea.
Yeah.
So that's just awareness. Alright, so there we did what you call staggering. Are you familiar with that term?
Is it no? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so staggering is whenever you die late. So when you die late, multiple things happen, right? Your team comes out in front of you. They have the choice: do we go in without you? In this case, they are, right? Look, they're going in without you. In which case, they're all gonna die and lose the fight, right? Or be at a disadvantage. Or they can wait for you, in which case you've just wasted a bunch of time, right?
Yeah.
Watch the people around you, be aware of your surroundings so that you're not walking backwards into your Baptiste. Oh, and then also so that you don't get backcapped, right? So that is awareness, right? That paying attention to your environments that just caused those two mistakes. Pay attention, make sure you're keeping up your audio awareness, and then also just visual awareness. Besides that, when you see fights are won and lost, make sure you're either looking to get out if possible. If you cannot get out, you let them kill you. This way you don't stagger yourself, right? So that's stagger prevention.
What? I can nano someone.
Oh, huge shot, Hanzo.
Okay, pretty good fight. Oh, your stream quality is starting to go down a little bit here, so... Oh, never mind, it fixed itself after like 2 seconds.
That's weird. Yeah. My internet here is. I always call on.
Alright. So... yep, still a bunch of things. Keep it in mind. So one thing I would recommend is make sure that in between every single fight of the game that you're pressing tab, right? I've never seen us press tab once, and tab's just going to give us a lot of information to work with, right? Specifically, did their team swap any did their team swap any characters? Did our team swap any characters? What ultimates does my team have, right? Roadhog, right? With his ultimate, really powerful nano target. Without his ultimate, really meh nano target, right? So in
Yeah.
knowing your team's ultimates also just becomes very useful and information to know. So just in between every single fight, make it a habit to press tab, check out all that information. Okay, make sure you're watching teammates who, so that you can dodge around them with your nades, because all you have to do is just walk left or right, and then you're good.
Stay behind.
Okay. Melee usually is reserved as a finisher, right? So when someone is very low HP and the melee is going to kill them, typically you don't use melee just because someone's close to you, because your normal gun still is going to be more effective as a damage option.
Yeah. I was just scared I wasn't gonna hit any shell. You have ult?
I like the tab. Watch health bar there, request healing when you're low. Alright, so I'm going to be streaming if you would like to take a look. Do not hop into a game quite yet because I'm going to have a lot of things to discuss. Alright, and then I'm going to stop watching your stream as well. Alright, so let's start going over a bunch of things. Firstly, I guess let's start with positioning. Alright, we are on Ana. So, positioning, right? Let's start with general positioning. So, if I am standing right here, right? And the entire enemy team is standing over there, and they're all looking at me, they're all shooting at me. It takes me 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind cover. Now, from here, you cannot shoot through solid objects, so I am safe. But in that time it took me to walk here, I died, right? Because I was very
Yeah.
out in the open. Therefore, poor positioning is being out in the open, right? Is the lack, that's it. It's being out in the open. Now, if I'm standing right here, now it takes me half a second to duck behind cover, right? Which is 6 times faster than what it just took me previously, which means that therefore, good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover, right? So here is much, much better than standing over there, and a lot of the times we smack dab in the middle of nowhere, right? In the middle of point, or in the middle of just the map, or, whatever that entails, right? We're just standing very far away from cover in a lot of situations. The cover's all over the place, right? You have that. You have slopes like so. You have pillars, right, in between shots when we're reloading, when we're low health, when we're being shot at. Yeah, you have corners that do the exact same thing. You have random objects that are sitting around like so, right? The payload acts like that, right? Pillar, corner, doorway, corner. Right now, when we come to high ground as well, high ground is fantastic positioning. When we stand on a high ground, it all acts as natural cover. They can see us, now they can't. They can see us, now they can't. So the entire thing acts as cover, which we just discussed is very good. Additionally, high grounds give us a ton of, or high grounds, a lot of characters in the game can't reach you on a high ground, right? 2/3 of them can't get to you without using the stairs, and then the third that can, most of them need to use abilities, which means that now they're out of abilities. So this gives us an additional layer of survivability, right? Because characters can't get to us as easily, right? And then finally, it also gives us tons of great visibility. We can see over here and here, here, and here. But when we're on a low ground, we can't see over there, or any of the high ground, right? So high ground's fantastic. Look to rotate to high grounds in between every single fight of the game, right? So that it's a lot of free time that you can use just to get, go over, use the stairs, and then also just look to take it whenever you have the opportunity, and use cover, right? So that all making sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on. Ultimate usage, honestly, I think that you had ultimate usage pretty solid. Not a ton of problems. Maybe the only thing I would say was, like, we weren't really pressing tabs, so we didn't really know, like, what our team's ult percentages were at. But besides that, we picked great nano targets, and we also used it pretty frequently. And in good timings, usually, with the exception of, like, that one on Monkey. So ultimate usage looking good so far. Let's discuss different types of scoping real quick. So different types of scoping. Let's just stick with the two basics. There's quick scoping as well, but we'll ignore that for now. You're silver, so we'll work with some of the basics here. Unscope versus scoping, right? Your unscoped shots have advantages and disadvantages, right? So the characteristics of it are that when you unscope, you keep mobility, you keep visibility, and then your gun, your shot is a projectile, right? It has a travel time to it. When you scope in, you are going to lose visibility, you are going to lose mobility because you're slower, right? Which are both going to be poor for close range, but they're going to be good at long ranges because at a long range you want to be zoomed in, and at a long range you want to be slowed, which gives you more accuracy, right? And then additionally, right, it's going to turn your shot into a insta shot, a hit scan shot, right, rather than a projectile. So you might have seen the common thread there. Unscoped is good for close range, and then scoped is good for long range, right? And a lot of times I think we're using that sometimes just really backwards and in wrong situations. Like I saw us at the very beginning of the game, we were scoping in when people like were right here, right, on top of us. Oh, and then and we also would do it where we were unscoping when people like were all the way across the map over there, right? We would do this. So this is just going to lower accuracy a ton. So your proper ranges are going to be around this. This is the approximate ranges. So on a squishy targets, so anything that is not a tank, right, is going to be 10 meters. So from here to there is anything that's on a non-tank is unscoped. Anything further than that is scoped. Because tanks have bigger hitboxes, we can move back a couple meters here. 15 meters, anything closer on a tank, right, is unscoped. Anything further is scoped, right? Let's see, moving on here. Let's discuss ability usage. So, sleep, like I said, I think you're doing decent on sleep. Not as many big problems, but nades are insanely important, right? Especially I'd stress anti-nades, right? So firstly, we already said we want to use it more frequently. We want to look to get higher value, but let's talk, how do we get value out of it? Well, anti-nades, right? When we land a big fat anti-nade like 4, 5, 6, a lot of times those anti-nades are going to be more powerful than even your ultimate can be, right? Like a 4 to 6 man anti-nade can have equal to or more impact than your ultimate, which is very insane for an ability to be able to do that, right? So it's a very powerful ability, and we want to look to use it and not hold on to it for the first couple of minutes. So how do we look to do that? Well, first off, throw it more often. Secondly, look to intentionally get more value out of it. Think about it. But then let's also talk about a bunch of different tips and whatnot of how we can do that. Make sure that we are not trying to hit people directly. When we try to hit people directly, if we miss, go sailing straight past them into Narnia, right? But if we aim at their feet, right, or at the ground in between their feet, right, or at walls or at ceilings, right, this means that we just don't have any room to miss them, right? And then also is just such a gigantic radius that it catches multiple people. If you try to hit somebody directly, they can body block it from hitting people around them. Whereas if you throw it at the feet in between them, then it's both of them, right? All of them. So throw it in the feet between as many people as possible, right? Wait for them to group up. Don't just toss in nade and expect it to get value, right? Wait for them to group, right? So you wouldn't, for example, here, throw it when they're like that, right? Because they're very split up. Instead, we are going to wait for them to group up, right, at the very end here, and then now we nade when they're all grouped up, right? More nade stuff, so nade tech. This only works if you are scoped in. It does not work if you are unscoped. But if we are trying to throw nades at a range, medium to long range, we can take our ultimate charge and line it up with an enemy, press nade, and that nade is going to hit that person from any height, any range, though of course you don't need to use it when you're close to people. Right? When we're on more even footing with them, or these guys are on a slope, or we are going to line up our Q instead of our instead of her ultimate charge, right? And then the nade will hit them. Then let's see. Besides that, I think that we're semi-good on the nade for now. There's still more, of course, to go along with it, but I think that's it for the moment. Crosshair placement. We're going to talk about crosshair placement. So, are you familiar with that term at all?
Go to sleep.
Yeah, where you have your crosshair when you're playing, like where you keep it. So some people keep it on the floor the whole game. I'm not.
Yeah. So that you are accurate, and most characters you like to keep your crosshair at head level because you hit headshots, and headshots do 2 times damage. On Ana, you don't do 2 times damage, so typically you're gonna keep it body level. You don't want to be aiming at the floor. You don't want to be aiming up in the ceiling. On average, you don't do that. Of course, you don't have a problem with that. So you're good on that end, but there's more than just that in the crosshair placement. There's also what you call pre-aiming, right? And that is aiming where you know people are going to be so that you can hit easier shots, right? So that would mean if we know person's top right, we're going to pre-aim top right where we know they're going to be coming out. And then that way, as soon as a person turns the corner, we can land the sleep, right? So for example, when the McCree was right above us, right, and we knew, McCree, the only possibility there is either McCree drops or he does not. If he does not, you're good. If he drops, we need to be ready. So we want to, instead of looking down here, we want to be looking up, ready for the sleep, so that as soon as he peeks that corner, right, we can land the sleep on him, right? And that's called pre-aiming, right? So you can do multiple forms of this, right? If we know they're on our left, we can pre-aim left side as we turn around. Instead of doing, a lot of people do like this slow pan to the left, right? After they've come out, but instead we want to be like already looking to the right. Okay. Additionally, there is, keeping in mind that, different slopes will affect it as well, right? So like these guys are on a slope, so instead of coming out aiming up here, we're gonna come out aiming down a little bit lower, right? So just a bunch of different things in crosshair placement there. All right.
More from you.
Now, overhealing. So, overhealing, right, is any time that you are attempting to heal people who are already full HP or very close to full HP, right? So, that could include, for example, like if you have a tank who, like Reinhardt, he's 480 HP, right? If you're in the middle of a fight, does that 20 HP that you're spending time healing him realistically matter when you could be looking to land an ability or heal somebody else who is lower health, or look to damage somebody, or look to nano somebody, right? Or just paying attention to your environment, right? So of course you can heal up that 20 HP if the fight is over, or if you have absolutely nothing else to do. But that's just something to keep in mind, is if they're down just a tiny little bit of HP, doesn't matter too much in the middle of a fight. But then, especially the big one here is, if somebody's full HP and you see that they're full HP, this guy's full HP, if you're healing, this is doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. The shots are just going through them, accomplishes nothing, and it just is going to waste your ammo, which means that you're not going to have ammo for if you actually need it. It's also going to waste time, right? Because if you spend, let's say a couple seconds per fight doing that, that really adds up over the course of a game, right? So even in like one single game, that could even be like a minute of time where you're doing absolutely nothing, right? And over the course of multiple games, that's, minutes upon minutes upon, hours of gameplay that you end up just doing nothing during, which is wasted time and wasted value, right? So instead of overhealing, pay attention to their health bar, watch their health bar. When they're full HP, you want to check, does anybody else need healing, right? Nobody else needs healing. Okay, I'm going to reload. Okay, if I've checked all these boxes off, right, now I'm going to look for an ability, right? If I don't have abilities, then I'm going to maybe look to damage somebody, right? So it's just going through all these different boxes. You have a ton of other things to do. Don't overheal, right, is essentially the basics there. Now I think that is all that I am currently recalling. Right now we have 28 minutes left in the session, though we are going to take the last 8 minutes to do a quick review, move over the main points of the session, and then wrap up the session. So we have like 20 minutes left here. Not sure if we want to risk like a comp game with that time. Would you like to hop into some quick play games instead? Honestly, at your rank, quick play is probably just better anyways, because it doesn't matter if you're quick player comp, and then we can also just go in and out of these training ranges. So does that, do you mind about that?
Yeah, that's fine. Quick play would be good.
Yeah.
Just
Feeling sleepy?
learn.
All right. So just checking. Does all of that we just talked about make sense? Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, makes sense. Just it's a lot to think
Yes.
about when you're playing.
It is a lot, right? So I guess let me add in, right? Um, how do you look to apply that, right? So you can probably look to go ahead and hop into a queue, and then I'm going to friend you, that way I don't have to go through your stream anymore. Um, one moment. All right, should have just sent you a friend request. All right, and then yeah, how do you look to actually apply the things that we're talking about, right? Probably, so how you look to apply things, right? Starts by focusing on your gameplay. That means that you're not going to autopilot. You're not going to just play to play, and contrary to popular belief, you're not going to just purely play to win. Instead, you're going to focus on improvement. And when you focus on improvement, it means that you are going to end up actually going places rather than stagnating. Now, what that would, okay, I don't think did you accept the friend request yet?
Yeah.
I don't,
Says you're on.
I
Oh wait,
don't,
I have my stuff set offline because.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna need you online so I can see you in game here. Yep, there you go. Okay, so then I'll just wait for you. You can queue up still while we talk. So yeah, continuing, right? So focus on your gameplay. Now, what that looks like within your gameplay is you're going to be thinking to yourself, let's say we're thinking of positioning. We're going to think positioning, 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 cover, 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 high ground, high ground, high ground, right? So we're going to think to ourselves and give ourselves these constant reminders to pay attention to our environment. And when we do that for a long enough period of time, it will, or sorry, when we do that, right, it'll make our positioning better. When we do that for a long enough period of time, it'll form it as a positive habit. Once it's formed as a positive habit, we no longer need to put nearly as much attention into it, and we can move on to something else to work on. Now, we'll note, don't try to do everything all at once, right? Don't try to, we have talked about a ton of things. If you try to go over everything, that'll become very overwhelming, right? Don't try to do that. Instead, focus on one category of things to work on, which we'll go over those at the end, or focus on 1 to 3 things within a category to work on, right? So that is improvement process. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, so I'm probably just gonna focus on positioning and a couple other things
Yeah.
first.
Well, I'll give you that's when the main points are at the end. I'll tell you this is probably the number one thing, number two thing, and so forth that you want to be. This is the order of things you want to be focusing on, which I'll tell you at the end how that will look. Yep, I think currently this is fine positioning. If your teammates decide to stay up that far, which it looks like they may be trying to do that, you possibly might want to be a little bit closer so that you can support them, right? So, yeah, so the problem there is that your team is way too far forwards, right? And in that situation, we just want to push forwards and help them out a little bit. And then once the fight goes to a point, then we can take high ground.
Get back in the fight.
Right, watch
Oh,
that arc, right? We have to aim up a little bit higher. Remembering at this range, we could probably use that scope tech as well.
Help me. Go.
Yeah, pretty sure that was a good nade, though note that when we're low HP, you might want to go for a heal nade over that anti-nade unless it's like a massive anti. Okay. Rather than shooting at the shield, that time might just be valuable to rotate up to high ground where you don't even need to worry about the shield and you have better positioning. So that's just something to consider.
yeah, I'm not gonna.
My ultimate is charging.
Heal up. Nano boost is ready to deploy.
My ultimate is charging. I need healing.
I've seen what you're going to live. Right beside you.
And now we do want to watch a little bit for the Widowmaker, but might still take the high grounds. Sorry, I stopped talking to try to let you listen.
Yeah, so
My ultimate is charging.
I wonder where that Reaper's at.
Nim, this will help. You're powered up. Get in there.
My strength.
Yep, pretty good abilities and the good nano as well.
Get back in the fight. Die either. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Healing stream engaged.
I remember this feeling.
Very nice.
You're going to be okay.
Might want to just shoot at him a little bit while he's waking up. No reason not to. Yeah. Watch stepping into that grab there, right? Because that means that first off we took a ton of damage, probably could have died, and then we also that ruins our chance. Like it just makes it harder to heal the people in the grab when we're inside of it too, right?
Yeah, that was kind of dumb of me.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Watch a health bar, right? Just when we have nothing else to do, just you know, self-nade if we're not gonna need it anytime soon.
I will keep you healed. Taking damage.
So just gotta work on like our nade mechanics, which I would assume are very rusty as we haven't used it a ton, right? So like making sure we're arcing it correctly.
Way I like.
When Ball slammed them all there, that would have been a perfect massive nade because they're all grouped up in this tiny little ball of like 4 people, right? So just watch for people grouping up, pay attention to it. That way when, you know, if you have 4 people grouped up, big nade is coming in.
Take your medicine. Nim,
Oh, I got lucky there.
this will only hurt for a minute.
Always take the opportunity to go for more people if you can get more people. So if a Reaper's running straight at you and he's relatively close to you, right? Self-nade while you... Oh, that's unfortunate. Watch for her. Self-nade while you anti him, right? Because you can heal yourself and anti him at the exact same time rather than just anti-ing him, right? So
Yeah.
that might just mean waiting like an extra second for him to get closer to you, or even sometimes walking closer to him, right? To and then also just aim at the feet in between both of you rather than, you know, just at him or just at you.
Okay,
Probably,
that's smart.
yeah, probably come back taking the high ground there would have been a good idea. Like just as you're walking back. Now maybe isn't the time, but like while you're walking back, it's just gonna be almost the exact same amount of time for better positioning.
Get here.
Reaper's behind.
I've seen worse. You're going to live. I'm under attack. You're covered.
Helden sterben nicht. You're covered.
Very excellent mechanics. Very nice.
And I'm feeling young again.
Yep, pretty decent nade as well. though we are just not to say that one's bad. That one is completely fine, but we are just I'm just going to note that we have not seen a ton of big anti-nades, which again, just note that going for 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be much higher value than getting a single anti-nade, right? One person in an anti-nade versus 6 people in an anti-nade is like 10 times the value getting 6, right?
Lights out. This will only hurt for a minute.
Yeah, I should have waited there.
Name
Nice sleep. Whenever you sleep, people, make sure you're participating in securing the kill, because sometimes when we sleep, we just like kind of let our team handle it and we don't really pay attention to it, when we can probably help them kill the person, right? With our nade and with our with our shots. Though, maybe give it a second for your team to help too, right? Usually it's a group effort, right? Everybody's helping out. Massive anti-nade, right? So you can see there, now you grab dragon them, but you can see that even without the grab dragon, honestly, you probably didn't even need the grab dragon. That fight is still won the moment you landed that big fat 3-man anti-nade.
I'm under attack.
But it was last fight anyways, so. Alright,
They,
so you can probably go ahead and hop into another queue right away here. I don't believe, at least unless I'm forgetting something, that I had anything to immediately demonstrate. And then we can go for like 6 more minutes or so.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, I just get too into the game and I forget to cover and I just be with my team the whole time. Oh
Yep.
crap.
And then that's just the autopiloting, right? And then just thinking about that is how we make sure we're using better positioning, which forms better habits. All right, I am spectating you.
Traveling to
Good.
Route 66.
I play to win. All systems operational. Diva, ready for combat.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
All right, game face on. Greetings. I can't wait to get into the fight.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
5, 4,
All right.
3,
Yeah, I think we might
1.
have one thing I want to go over, but I'm just debating whether or not we talk about it or not.
The payload.
I will keep you healed. Name. I'm under attack.
Oh,
Oh,
watch for the fire strike. Right, look to dodge it.
Let's get you back in the fight.
Thank you, Angela. Go. I'll keep you healed. I
Okay.
will keep you healed. Take your medicine.
Maybe self nade again in that situation might have been useful. So, when it comes to heal nades, right? Heal nades happen when heal nades are needed. When heal nades are needed is when you are low and in danger, right? Both of them. When you're being sig ulted, you're low and in danger. So a lot of times heal nade is probably gonna be useful there. Okay. Now, I was talking, so I couldn't recall directly there, but I think we walked out in the open, right, and that caused us to die, so watch
yeah.
walking too far on the open, watch being too close to the fight, put like a little bit of a distance. You don't want to be across the map, but you still want to be a little bit far away from the fight. Additionally, taking that high ground probably would have been a pretty good idea during that fight, right, would have given you some good positioning to work from.
have your back. Take your medicine.
Does a punching thing actually work?
I don't think that the time that I think I did something a really long time ago to test that out. I don't think the time that you gain from it really makes a very big difference. And then you have the chance to accidentally cancel your reload. So I do not think that it is. Now, if you see pros doing that, take their word over mine on that, because I'm not sure.
I see them do both, so that's
Yeah, so I mean, if they do that, then that's fine.
Taking damage.
this guy's bad.
Make sure we're reacting to him a little bit faster too, though.
I heard him. I was like, this. I'm used to just dying instantly.
Look to secure that when you use 1 HP like that. Look to secure the kill on him, right? We kind of let him go with 1 HP instead of just toss a nade at him or something of that sort.
The payload has reached
Next time.
Nah, massive sleep.
Die feeder.
Reaper's behind. If there's like a Reaper on high ground, should I just stay with my team down here?
Yep. I mean, you're not gonna be able to 1v1 a Reaper effectively. So if you're contested on a high ground, then you can give up high ground. The proper combo you do when someone is like sleeping or you're trying to burst somebody is shoot, nade, shoot, right? So instead of just nading him there, you shoot, nade him.
Helden sterben nicht. The
Feeling
battle
sleepy? Walk it off.
Very nice.
The way I like it.
You nade
I
shoot.
will keep you here. You're powered up. Get in there. Name.
All right. Why don't you? Can you leave this game for me real quick? We're gonna go over some stuff and then wrap up. All right. So right there at the very end, we naded. First off, noting that we like. Yeah, probably say the big thing was that we went and nanoed the Diva when we had a Reaper with Death Blossom available, right? So,
Never stop fighting for what
do
you
you
believe
think,
in.
just I guess to establish firstly, who would you say is more powerful as a nano target, a Diva or a Nano Death Blossom?
I have you on both.
Nano with Death Blossom.
Right, so then I guess the knowing that he has it becomes the issue, right? Which comes down to pressing tab, right? Making sure we're watching it. So make sure pressing tab frequently, right? That gives you, like we said, information to work with, because I would say that Nano Death Blossom is much more powerful. Probably one of the the most powerful. Nano Diva is an okay nano target versus Nano Death Blossom, which is one of the best nano targets you can be going for, right? So making sure paying attention to that. So again, now let's also discuss real quick a topic of how can we land nades better. So there's a lot of different things that get in the way of your nades. You have teammates who can get in the way of your nades, right? You have shields, tanking abilities, tanks themselves because they can just step in front of it and stop it from hitting people behind them, right? And then we also have like random objects that can get in the way, right? Now, if we are, let's say the enemy team is there and our team is here and we're shooting on this, we try to throw in an aid or throw in a sleep, but we're going to have to get through our team and shields and tanking abilities and tanks, right? Which is just a lot of obstacles, which we can get around them by moving to the left or the right of our teammates and moving to the side of their shields and making sure that we're waiting for them to drop and maybe waiting for them to die or for them to break, right? So we have options, but by far the best option to bypass them is to just do this. Well, now we've just immediately gotten around the the shields and the tanks and the tanking abilities and our teammates, right? All in one go, and it's very fast and it's very safe, right? This is what you call an off angle, right? It's just taking a different angle from the main angle, which is this, right? So this, from here, we can land an ability to get back to our team instantly, right? Highly recommend doing this whenever you have it as an option, and it's going to be an option maybe around like half the time, right? Enemy team, our team, main angle, right? Just going up here real quick would just be an off angle, right? We can get instantly around everything, right? Straight to the back line. High grounds all act as natural off angles as long as we're above people. This is another advantage of a high ground, right? If they're all the way over there, though, not really, because they can still shield you. But from here, you can just get over the shields very easily, right? So that is off angling. Make sure we're doing it so that we can land our abilities effectively. And that's, again, another benefit of taking a high ground. So real quick, let's go over the main points of the session. So ability usage. Sleeps, honestly, very solid. Not perfect, not the best I've seen, but for your level as this, or for silver, much higher above average, right? I would say that your sleeps, like, even can, I'd say that as of the moment, your sleeps compare to maybe like a diamond player's sleeps ish, around that level. Though of course you're also going up against people who don't know how to work against sleep very well. But I would say it's much higher than your current level. Now that does not apply to your nades. Your nades are probably on par or below your current level, right? So nade usage, make sure that we are looking to land them frequently and land them well. Ability usage, make sure we're using them off a cooldown, right? Every time we get them, we look for quality and quantity, right? Scope tech to land your nades, right? Line it up, toss it in there. Besides that, don't aim at people directly, aim at their feet in between people. And then we just discussed off angling as well. Wait for people to group up, right? Don't just toss a nade hoping to hit people. Wait for them to all group up and then throw nade in. And then make sure we're looking for as many people as possible, not just, one-man nades can get value, but a lot of times you can find a lot more value out of getting that, 3, 4, 5, 6-man anti-nades than you will out of, like, one single person, right? And also go for multiple people if it helps, like, heal yourself and your teammates if possible. You also use heal nades when people are low and in danger. These are different, right? I can be critical HP and sitting in this corner. Am I in danger?
Oh, you're asking?
Yep, that's a question.
No.
No, and then I can be full HP and standing in the middle of their team and be in danger. But would nade do anything if I'm full HP? No. Would nade be needed if I'm not in danger? No, even if I'm critical, right? So therefore, you use it when people are low and in danger, and that applies to yourself too, right? Overall, ability usage in general probably would say goes to medium or maybe a medium high. I'm deciding between maybe put it at a medium high. We'll put that at a medium high. Ultimate usage, honestly, fairly solid. Now, there were, I think, maybe 2 screw-ups I saw with it, but besides that, we used it at relatively good pacing. We used it at good timings during fight, and for the most part, we had good targets. Besides that one last one where we weren't paying attention to the old charge, so press tab, pay attention to the old charge, watch teammates who have ultimates, because that's going to dictate who you're nanoing. And then besides that, just make sure that if you're nanoing a close range character like Winston, you're not doing it when he is nowhere near people, right? And he has, make sure he has jump too, right? If he is nowhere near people. And then overall, honestly though, probably a low priority. Not a ton of big problems with it. Maybe it's a low to medium priority, right? If between those two. Mechanics, right? General mechanics, I think were very fine. Just how you're shooting normally. Though I would say crosshair placement with pre-aiming, right? Make sure we're pre-aiming, aiming where we know people are going to be. Make sure that we know when to unscope versus scope, right? Unscope is going to be 10 meters squishy targets, 15 meters tanks. Longer than that is scoped on both of those. Besides that, make sure we're not overhealing, right? Watch people's health bars. Don't heal when they're full HP or very, very close to being full HP. Instead, look to do anything else, right? Also just reload during those times as well. And then that's about it, I believe. So overall, that one probably goes to like a medium priority for you to work on. Moving on, positioning, right? Making sure that you're using cover. Good positioning is usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that you're using high grounds. High grounds are fantastic. We listed like so many different reasons why they're great. Look to take them. Look to take them, the best positioning possible, which is usually high ground in between fights. Make sure that we are not standing on top of cart when we're about to cap. That's the most dangerous place for us to be standing. Make sure we are not standing like in the middle of the fight. Usually you want to put a little bit of a distance, right? Stand like usually your range should be close range to team, medium range to enemy team, right? And then that's about it. Overall, probably positioning goes to a medium high priority as well. And then finally, you have awareness, paying attention to your environment, watch your health, request healing when you're low, heal when you're low, right? Pay attention to your audio awareness and just what's happening around you audibly. Pay attention to just your general surroundings. Press tab in between every single fight. Gives you a lot of things to be aware of. Make sure that you are paying attention to health bars, so you know when your teammates need healing and when they don't, and when you need nade and when you don't, right? Pay attention to enemy teams' health bars, so that you know to finish off the Genji who's 1 HP, right? Pay attention to where's my team at, where's the enemy team at, general things that are going around me, right? All of that probably adds up to. Honestly, I don't think that your awareness. I think your awareness was maybe like a little bit above your current rank. Though not by a very super large margin. I still think it was decent. So that one probably goes like at a medium priority for you to work on. So all of that in order real quick. Probably would say that your positioning comes as number 1, because positioning as well, adding in is off angling also is into positioning, right? Positioning is number 1. Ability usage is number 2, specifically nades. Number 3 is probably going to be your awareness. Number 4 is your mechanics. And then number 5 is your ultimate usage by a very large margin. Your ultimate usage is by far the best with not a lot of things to work on. So does that all make sense? Do you have any questions about anything we've talked about or anything else in general?
No, I'll just try to work on that, and I'll try to set up a couple more meetings.
Yeah?
Just
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. So I just